Okay, I'd like to call to order our September 18th, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting. And as y'all have had a chance to look at the agenda, do we have any changes?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to remove item 16C to the month of October to allow the Charlton Volunteer Fire Department the opportunity to meet with the Fire Association.
Okay. Any comments, feedback, thoughts? We need a motion on that.
Did we want to put this on the agenda because it was something we need to talk about quickly?
No, normally when any fire department have an issue, they take that issue to the association, and then it comes to Chief Williger, not our Chief of Emergency Services, and then come to the board.
And I think in our last discussion, that's what we had indicated we wanted to do.
How often does that body meet?
Hmm?
How often do they meet?
Monthly.
First Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, did you say to move it to the regular meeting or our work session in October?
The regular meeting.
Okay.
Any other agenda changes, or do we need to move a motion on this at one?
Did you make a motion?
You want to make that as a motion,
Did
sir?
you make that as a
Yeah,
motion?
yeah, I made that motion.
Okay, so
To approve the agenda with
With
that
that.
one change.
removal of item 16C. Okay, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
No.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosie?
Yes, so moved. Any other changes to the agenda?
I think he adopted the,
We just
that
approved
was,
it.
that was adopted in the agenda.
Right. All right, at this point in time, Bobby?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, you'll need a motion pursuant to Section 2.23711A of the Code of Virginia to move to closed session for the limited purpose of a discussion regarding the appointment of specific appointees to county boards, committees, or authorities as set forth in the agenda pursuant to subsection 1.
Move.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosie?
Yes, we will reconvene at 6 o'clock.
Mr. Acree?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosing?
Yes.
And now, Mr. Chairman, pursuant to Section 2.23712 of the Code of Virginia, a motion certifying that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements and only such public business matters as identified in the motion to move to closed session were heard, discussed, or considered.
So moved.
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Acree?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosing?
Yes. And with that,
Yes, I've asked our county administrator, Mr. Don Robertson, to lead us in invocation this evening.
Good evening. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for this opportunity that you've allowed us to gather. We thank you for the beautiful weather that we are now experiencing. We thank you even for the rain. We thank you for our employees, for our public safety officials, and for those who serve our county and for those who keep us safe. We thank you now for our board who will deliberate on tonight. Give them wisdom, allow them to have thoughtful conversation and dialogue such that they might make decisions that are in keeping with good government and that are beneficial to the citizens of this county. We ask that you continue to bless us, and for that we will give you the glory. In your name we pray. Amen.
please stand.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have a list with citizen comments?
No one signed up, Mr. Chairman.
One signed up. Let me see if there's a show of hands whether I need to read this or not. Anybody want to make a citizen comment tonight? Okay, we will move forward at this time. Any board comments? Certainly not. Mr. Robertson, would you lead us in the consent agenda?
Sure. We have several items on the consent agenda tonight. The first being a budget amendment from Dominion Energy. This is funding that we get annually. A portion of the funding is used for Isle of Wight, our alert system, so IW Alert. The remaining or the balance of that funding is used for equipment and materials that we use in emergency response. Second item is a budget amendment for insurance proceeds. We had a vehicle that was damaged. The insurance proceeds are listed there and will be used in the repair of that vehicle. Third item is a budget amendment for the Smithville Sidewalk Fund project. As you know, if you've driven through Smithfield anytime in the last few weeks, you've seen the cones up. That work is fully underway. But as is the case with most of our projects, Jamie has been able to secure some additional funding, in this case $50,000, that will be used toward that project. Item D is a budget amendment for technology trust funds. These are funds that are used by the Clerk of Circuit Court to preserve and help out with access to old land records. And I think one of you asked me how far they'd gotten
I did.
in that. It's really hard to determine because the state gives them funding to do like a certain, from one year to another year, but she's not totally sure how far they've gone back. So as soon as we get that information, we'll let you know. But that's what that funding's for. Item E is funding that we received, a $10,000 grant for Virginia 250 thematic driving tour. As you know, next year we'll be celebrating the 250th anniversary of our nation. And with that, tourism will be creating a driving tour for folks who may be coming through our community. Item F, and I don't know if Bobby wants to speak to this or not, but
I can. The Department of Social Services Board has been operating under the bylaws that are in your agenda packet for in excess of 10 years. They, for some reason, started conducting a search and realized they never had this authorized by the Board of Supervisors. It is, the bylaws are, that they've been in place. Apparently, Mr. Popovich prepared them, but I couldn't find where they were ever put on your agenda to be adopted. They're asking that they be adopted. I've reviewed them, and it would be exactly what I would have prepared.
Thank you. Item G is Fire Prevention Week. We've put in front of you a resolution to designate October 5th through the 11th as Fire Prevention Week. Item H is a resolution to designate October 13th as Indigenous Peoples' Day. That is a celebration that occurs in communities throughout the nation on that date. Item I is a vehicle grant agreement. You might recall that several years ago, you came to agreement with the various volunteer fire and rescue units that whenever a vehicle is acquired, the county would provide the title to the volunteer agency. There's a lien placed on the vehicle for the county's protection. And this is for a brush truck that will be assigned to Smithfield Volunteer Fire Station, or Fire Department, I'm sorry. And then the last item is one set of minutes that we've included in your agenda for consideration.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, with that said, I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as printed.
okay. Any further discussion?
I have a few questions.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So, item C, Mr. Robertson, the Smithfield Sidewalk Funding Project, is that inclusive of the sidewalk that's on Great Springs Road in front of the 7-Eleven? Is that
I
all the same
believe,
project?
yes.
Yes.
So, I've noticed, because I live in that area, that the work was completed on the sidewalk on Great Springs Road, and then it was torn up and it was started again, causing traffic impediments, et cetera. And I'm sure extra cost. So I was wondering about the extra cost, and then who pays for that, and why it was redone, and
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, but I don't believe there's any additional cost to the county.
No, sir. The sidewalk was installed incorrectly. It did not meet ADA guidelines, so it was removed and reinstalled correctly to meet the specifications. The county doesn't directly pay for work that's installed that does not meet specifications.
so who ends up paying for that mistake? I'm just curious. I'm
The
glad we don't.
contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Under normal circumstances, the contractor.
But it doesn't cost us anymore. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also have two more questions. One is just about the Indigenous Peoples' Day. Do we have to certify that every year? Sorry, I thought that was an annual event. Is that just every time it comes around,
The date changes every year.
the date changes? So are the offices closed on that day?
No.
No.
So as you may recall, that is also Columbus Day, and several years ago, you adopted a policy by which employees have a floating or flexible holiday, not a floating holiday, but a flexible holiday. And we utilized the day that was formerly Columbus Day in our holiday leave for that. So employees can take that day off if they wish, but offices remain open. But they can, quite frankly, take that flexible holiday anytime they want to.
And then my last question has to do with the vehicle grant agreement for the brush truck to Smithfield. I was wondering just a little bit more about why that happens. It strikes me that the county has a lien against the title, something that we buy, we pay for, the citizens of the county pay through the appropriation of money to each volunteer squad for insurance for the vehicle, fuel, maintenance, and all the things. Yet the county doesn't retain the title to the actual vehicle. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. And maybe it's because I wasn't around when this, agreement was bartered, but I had some questions.
The history of that is that it was in the August 16th of 18, the Board of Supervisors amended the policy that was in effect in 2013, where it was the county owned the vehicle and then leased them basically to the volunteer agencies. And I wasn't here at that time either, so I'm not sure what the underlying thought process was, but that's when the policy was changed to the county conveying the vehicle to the various volunteer agencies and retaining the lien, and depending on ownership, I mean, some items have been 100% county funded, others are 80-20 or.
So since about the 1980s, the county has been paying for virtually all the cost, or a majority of the cost of some of this apparatus. Say 80s, maybe it was 90s. There still are departments that contribute to the cost of the bill of the vehicle. They may add things to it, et cetera. The intent was that, quite honestly, I think if the county were purchasing it, it would probably be just county specs, and that would be what they'd get. It allowed them to have pride in it and personalize it, if you will, for the department. At the same time, we heard our citizens, and wasn't a lot of them, but there was some concern that should you have, because these are independent companies, and say you have citizens that may be running those organizations, that how do you prevent someone or an organization from selling one of those vehicles? And the best way we knew how was we could stay keeping with them owning the vehicles, but we put a lien on it. And the lien would be for our portion, I believe it's what, 80-20 or something? Depends on what they put into it. So that allows us to work it out when they go. We still have a lien on it when it is going to be sold, and it allows us to kind of stop everything and figure out how much comes back to the county, how much goes to the volunteer organization.
I guess that also prevents the county from moving vehicles around from one squad to the next. Because
Potentially.
they actually own it, yeah. I was just questioning the legitimacy behind the county bearing all of the cost and not owning the asset.
And I can't speak for every board member that was here at the time. I can only say that I believe the intent was predominantly all our volunteers are county citizens. So we felt like they were very responsible, and it being their vehicle was not an issue. And like I said, we had some back and forth. Might be why some people ran for the Board of Supervisors some number of years ago. And it was to try to, show that we do appreciate what they do. I mean, these trucks are expensive. I've talked to Mr. Robertson about this actually today we talked a little bit more about the cost of these trucks going up and up and up. But particularly at one time, if not now, the cost or the savings that our volunteers, and y'all all know this, brings us for our salary savings, quickly pays for a lot of these vehicles. And I would argue probably with this brush truck would quickly help pay for that. But that's kind of getting in the weeds, but that's kind of I guess the spirit of it, if you will. Does that sound about right? You were here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a negotiated agreement, without question. There was a little bit of difference of opinion on both sides of the issue, great deal of passion from the citizens and those who were representing the volunteer agencies. And that was the grant agreement was the outcome of all of that. So it's been in place since 2018, I believe it was.
And one of probably the latest examples may be Smithfield's aerial. That aerial was I think we were going to give, 1.1, 1.2 million for an aerial. I think that was more like 1.7, 1.8 at the time. And they came up with the additional money to purchase that truck. And this agreement, I think, helped foster that type of relationship.
So how is that asset represented on the balance sheet or on the books?
That's a good question. I don't know that we necessarily carry it on our books because the title is provided to the volunteer agency.
So it's just an expenditure with no associated asset gain?
I'd have to verify, and, Robert's probably not had a chance to look at that yet, but we can verify that and get that information to you.
That's all, thank you.
Any further comments? Can I have a motion
Motion was made.
to adopt the consent agenda?
Yes, we already made the motion.
So, all right, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Acree?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosing?
Yes. Okay, regional and intergovernmental reports. Jill?
I don't think I have anything at this time.
Renee?
Nope.
Thomas?
None for me.
Darn, I gotta say something. I had a meeting today with the Hampton Roads Military Federal Facilities Alliance Group, and it was very promising in many ways because within the Hampton Roads area, we have an alliance that works with the military, and I'm just looking at one page here, and we had quite a notebook on things, but I'm looking at hundreds of millions of dollars that have been passed and put forward for our military, for support for them. And as we work our way through a challenging economic time, and this last year as well as this next year, and a lot of things impacting that with tariffs and inflation going on. And the hope is economically, and Renee's been a part of that too, and I've been meeting with folks, with Mayor and Franklin, and looking at different opportunities that we have. And we really hope that we can build a plan as we build on this alliance to bring some of that into our area. And so looking forward to what can be happening over this next year. Any other comments, no other reports?
Well, seeing how we have a VACO representative here, I'll give a little bit of shameless plug too.
Yeah.
There is the annual conference in November. I'm excited to say that we're working towards a breakout session to kind of highlight adults with disabilities in our community, some of the programs that the counties have created, maybe some of the shortfalls and some of the things that I think we'd all agree need to be put on the radar of our elected officials throughout the state of Virginia, and hopefully some people not just at the county level, at state level also. So excited, and it's a great opportunity. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to highlight how important it is, and that's not a state, that's not just regional, that's state, that VACO really plays a part in us being part of VACO in making it better, not for the citizens, not just for the citizens of Isle County, but for the state of Virginia. So looking forward to that.
Looking forward to your presentation in a few minutes as well. Do we have any appointments? Rudolph? No? Renee? Thomas? Okay. So we will move to our special presentations and appearances. Mr. Robertson?
Sure. Mr. Chairman, the first item is an item that we are really happy about. Virginia Association of Counties, Dean Lynch reached out to me a few months ago and said, hey, the VACO board has adopted a resolution to recognize Supervisor McCarty, and they were really happy to do that and had a great desire to be here to present that. And so the president of VACO, Ms. Larson, is here, and so we are thankful that she made the trip and made it across the ferry to get here. But we did want to invite also Minister McCarty to come up and so we can make the presentation. And I'm going to ask her if she would just stay in place once this has been done, 'cause
Yeah, I did not expect the 420 ferry to be full. So, and of course, Supervisor Acree is on the VACO board, and we very much appreciate his service. But, and we're very pleased to see you, but we're very sorry for the reason. So, I will read the resolution, but I'll just take a moment of personal time just to tell you that William was a great asset to VACO and to the VACO board, and he is very missed by all of us. I'm sure not nearly as much as he is missed by his family, but he is very missed by VACO. Whereas the Virginia Association of Counties suffered a great loss with the passing of William M. McCarty, a man of deep faith and a true public servant whose steady leadership, strong advocacy for counties, and kindness will be deeply missed. And whereas William M. McCarty served the Isle of Wight County community for more than 25 years in ministry and as a member of the Isle of Wight County Board of Supervisors, to which he was first elected in 2015. And whereas William E. McCarty also dedicated many hours to nurturing regional partnerships, meeting the Hampton Roads area's complex infrastructure needs, and planning for the region's future growth and prosperity, efforts which will benefit residents for many years to come. And whereas William E. McCarty exemplified servant leadership in his contribution to the Virginia Association of Counties, where he was known for his willingness to represent the association in special projects to address particularly challenging issues, his passionate advocacy for providing counties with tools to meet urgent community needs such as school capital investments, and his careful attention to stewardship of the association finances. And whereas William E. McCarty's colleagues recognized his extraordinary commitment to the association, selecting him to represent his region on the board of directors, and then electing him as second vice president, first vice president, and president-elect. And whereas William E. McCarty balanced his seriousness of purpose with a lightness of spirit. I have to say that. He had a wonderful sense of humor. And he will be remembered for his warmth and sense of humor that lifted everyone he encountered. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Virginia Association of Counties marks with great sadness the passing of William M. McCarty and extends its deepest condolences to his family and to the Isle of Wight County community. And be it further resolved that the Virginia Association of Counties honors the memory of William E. McCarty and celebrates his legacy of service to his community and to the association, adopted this 26th day of April 2025.
Very much.
And Mr. Chairman, if we could, because sometimes when you give flowers, you give a rose, but every now and then you get a bouquet. And so, and you all can be seated. So at this time, we had some late breaking news yesterday. Delegate Waxman reached out to our office and said, hey, just to let you all know, the General Assembly also wants to recognize Mr. McCarty's family, and so I'm going to invite, if you would,
Please come up.
Delegate Waxman to come up as well.
Thank you. We were trying to find a time to properly do this, but we did pass some joint house resolutions. It's difficult for me to find out that people that I've known for a long time have passed away, particularly so suddenly. Pastor Mack, I did not get a chance to know, but just for a couple of years. But it was certainly evident the amount of care and passion he had for the community, and I was looking forward so much to working with him. And it's just such a tragedy that that's been cut short. But at the General Assembly, we did want to recognize Pastor Mack, and we have a resolution from the General Assembly as well, too. And if I could read that.
Yes.
It's House Joint Resolution 592, celebrating the life of William N. McCarty, agreed to by the House of Delegates on February 10th, 2025, agreed to by the Senate February 13th, 2025, whereas William M. McCarty, a distinguished faith leader, esteemed public servant, beloved husband and father, and cherished member of the Isle of Wight County community, passed away on January 25th, 2025. And whereas William McCarty was an ordained bishop with the Church of God, who held a master's degree in counseling and several certifications in leadership, business management, and chaplaincy. And whereas William McCarty settled in the Isle of Wight County area in 1999 when he assumed leadership of the congregation of the Smithfield Church of God. And whereas, as pastor of Healing Waters Worship Center in Isle of Wight County, William McCarty provided his congregation with edifying spiritual leadership and abundant opportunities for worship, fellowship, and charitable outreach. And whereas William McCarty was an elected board of the Virginia Church of God State Council, who also served on several of the organization's boards, and he supported many in their faith by speaking at conferences and revivals, both throughout the United States and around the world. And whereas William McCarty was elected to the Isle of Wight Board of Supervisors in 2015, as a representative of the Newport District and later went on to represent the Carrollton area of the county. And whereas over 3 terms of public service, William McCarty dedicated himself to the health, prosperity, and well-being of the community, leading in the Isle of Wight Board of Supervisors for a period of time as its chair and serving on a number of regional and state boards and commissions. Whereas William McCarty sponsored localities statewide in various leadership capacities with the Virginia Association of Counties, including as president, first vice president, second vice president, and member of the board of directors, and he was chair of the Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization beginning in 2023. And whereas William McCarty will be fondly remembered and dearly missed by his loving wife, his children, numerous family members, and friends, now be it further resolved that the House of Delegates, the Senate concurring, that the General Assembly hereby note with great sadness the loss of William A. McCarty, a reverend member of the Isle of Wight County, whose leadership, faith, and service made an impact on countless lives, and be it further resolved that the clerk of the House of Delegates prepare a copy of the resolution for presentation to the family of William A. McCarty as an expression of the General Assembly's respect for his memory. House patron by myself, Delegate Green Phillips, and patron by Senator Jordan, Perry, and Reeves, and signed J. Paul Nardo, Clerk of the House of Delegates. It has been my honor to know Pastor Mack, and my honor to present this to you. And gentlemen of the board, thank you for allowing me this time to make this presentation.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Ms. McCarty.
Again, let me just say one last thing about William. William was not only a board member, he was our president-elect of VACO, but he was truly a dear friend. I could always, one little story, I could always count on William to do our church service at the annual conference every year. He was the only person I never had to twist an arm to do this. I think he really enjoyed that, and you know, we're going to miss him at VACO. We're going to miss his but he left a great legacy for us, and he truly worked with our executive committee and ironing out ideas, and used his counselor skills to be able to navigate and mediate conflicts that we had. So what I'd like to do is give you this picture. This is the picture that that we had of William. It hung in our foyer at 1207 East Main, VACO headquarters, for the last 3 years. It's a great picture.
It is.
And he's, you know, if you look at all our pictures, he's the only one that's got some color. You know, he loves it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is also, give you this. This is his nameplate that he used for the VACO board meetings continuously since he was on the board. And I just wanted to pass this on to you.
Thank you.
So thank you all for giving us a chance to honor William tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is a presentation from our public schools. You all had requested information with regard to our CIP, our Capital Improvements Program. Over the last few meetings, we've had multiple departments come in, and the other group that I know you all wanted to hear from was the school system. So I'm thankful that Dr. Kramer and Dr. Coleman are here tonight to provide that information for us. And so, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Chair Rosie, Vice Chair Jefferson, members of the board, and County Administrator Robertson. Thank you all for the opportunity to share our capital improvement plan project needs this evening. Before we share what we think our needs are for the coming years, I think it would be negligent of me to not discuss and share the work that has occurred And as a result of you all's efforts, I am very pleased to be able to share over the past year some of the progress we've made in this county. And we have some visual illustrations that I'd like to direct your attention to. And let's start with our athletic facilities. These are, I should say, were past tense, and I'm very pleased to say that. These were our athletic fields, our athletic tracks, and our tennis courts at both high schools. You can see Windsor is up top there, and Smithfield are the images below. As I shared with our staff, these are not stock photos pulled from the internet. These are our actual tracks, fields, and tennis courts. Very pleased to show you these were our tracks, fields, and tennis courts, and these are our current tracks, fields, and tennis courts. Absolutely. And again, I extend a huge thank you to you all, as I think it was Board Member Colick who spoke at the second meeting, and he said, we have the easy job of asking for this. You all have the hard job of figuring out how to pay for it. So I truly want to thank you all for that huge investment in our student athletes. This is where we were celebrating those events, and you see there the ribbon cutting ceremonies at both high schools, Smithfield and Windsor. And thank you, Chairman Rosie, for being there, bringing greetings. And thank you, Vice Chair Jefferson, for being in attendance as well. A great day, and I can certainly extend the gratitude and the excitement that our students felt and that our staff and our larger community feels as well as a result of these beautiful state-of-the-art facilities. So thank you so very much for that. Let's share a few others, if I may. Huge investment you all made in the Carrollton HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning units there. For years, we had complaints since my arrival as superintendent, and I think it predated me, according to some of the veteran teachers. They would venture to say decades. These systems were not working there. You could literally be at one place in that building and 50 feet in another part, and the temperature would vary by 15 or 20 degrees, literally. We had mold and other concerns there as a result of that, and because of an approximate $7 million investment that you all made in that school and our student, staff, and community, that is no longer the issue, and that work occurred this summer. So thank you for that huge investment. You've heard me talk quite often about our aging bus fleet. You've heard me say, probably more than you care to remember, that a third of our buses are obsolete. The state said that a third of them should be retired, meaning they have more than 300,000 miles and or more than 15 years of age. And for the first time since I've been here last year, we had started making an investment. Again, you gave us 5 new buses last year, and each bus is approximately $150,000. So it's a huge investment. And these are some of those new buses that arrived this spring. And again, there is more in this year's budget for 5 additional buses. The challenge is it takes a year to 18 months before the buses actually arrive. But more buses are forthcoming, so thank you for that huge investment. Weapons detection systems. You've heard us talk about enhancing safety and security in our schools. So we now have these devices in all of our high schools, and thanks to you all, we'll have these devices in our middle schools this year as well. I think it was pretty well known, and we had a bit of media because we had an incident at one of our high schools last year. These devices averted what could have been a potentially serious issue, so they actually do work. And again, thanks to you all, thanks to the Board of Education as well, we've expanded these devices in our schools. Vestibules. Funding was received actually prior to my arrival, but we have completed the installation of vestibules in our schools. When someone is buzzed in now, you can no longer have free reign in the building. You have to go into the main office before you are then permitted to go into the remainder of the building if you have need to do that. So these are now in all of our schools, and this investment was made at least 2, maybe 3 years ago. And this is a compiled list of the items I've mentioned, and some of the items I didn't mention, roof repairs in some of our schools, the Smithfield High band renovation that will be occurring. But that bottom number there, I'd like to pause and take a moment to entertain any questions or comments from you all. But you all have invested well over $14 million in the Isle of Wight school division with the items that are listed here. So I want to extend a debt of gratitude to you on behalf of students and staff and our families. That's a huge investment, and it is certainly paying dividends. So again, we have some time, built a little time in the end to take some questions, but if there are any comments or questions before we move on, I welcome those.
Board members?
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
Who monitors the weapon detection system?
Thank you for the question, Vice Chair Jefferson. The security personnel with some support from our teaching staff and directing, but we try to have that responsibility assumed by security because of the nature of what could be detected in bags, but our safety security officers have that primary responsibility.
So when kids, I was up there not too often, but when kids leave what used to be the agriculture building and come back into the main building, who monitors that? Because
Yes, in the morning they're monitored. One of our challenges, and we'll be having that conversation hopefully when we have the joint meeting in a few weeks. One of the challenges is, and our students and staff have brought this to our attention, unfortunately, they're not being monitored later in the day, and that is something we're shoring up this year. So that is one of our vulnerabilities and one of our challenges later in the day. It's a personnel matter. Right, but again, we certainly look forward to having more of that conversation in the near future.
So the SSO are staffing the weapons detection systems, is what you're saying?
The individuals we have, but remember, we only have 3 right now. We have 2 at one of the high schools and 1 at the other high school.
So, I mean, obviously weapons, so an SSO finds a weapon and somebody may have intent with that weapon. What's done then? They try to get an SRO, somebody that can actually defend?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It becomes a matter for law enforcement at that point. Absolutely.
Okay.
That's right.
So the SRO, and where, in relation to the SSOs, are they typically relatively close to each other? Or I guess my point is, you've got a security guard manning a weapons station. When somebody has an intent, I mean, it's one thing these kids do things that some kids just do, I don't know. But if the intent is there, an SSO, all due respect, is not really who I want there if they've got ill intent and have a weapon on them. Seems like to me you'd want an SRO there that can actually defend anybody that would even be in that breezeway or that corridor or whatever.
Yes.
But that's just, I'm not a law enforcement person,
I'm not even, just the superintendent. But they work in tandem. To answer your question, Board Supervisor Akery, they are there in the atrium, which is where the students are entering, whether it's from the bus area or from the front. So the security personnel, the weapons detection systems are there in that area where the students are entering in the morning.
So several years ago, I don't think y'all have addressed this, but I'm just curious, particularly, we'll just use Smithfield High as an example. There's so many exterior doors. What methods have y'all been able to take to prevent children from opening a door, letting a friend in? Or, because you see them running up to the door, they bang on the door, kid opens the door and they go in. And I think once upon a time I heard, well, the teachers are supposed to whatever, but kids these days will tell the teacher just what they think of that whole thing.
That's certainly one of the challenges, sir. It's securing all the perimeter doors, because if you do that, again, that's another vulnerability. It renders our devices, incomplete. It nullifies their value if people are opening doors. So it's being vigilant. It's certainly having the teachers who have duties, all of our teachers. When I was a teacher, that's one of your responsibilities. During your planning period, you have a duty so that you're monitoring those. We also have cameras at certain areas so we can monitor those there, but it's just being constantly vigilant, Supervisor Akery, to ensure that that's not happening. Can I assure you 100% of the time it's not happening? We cannot, but we do as much as we can to ensure that exterior doors, other than the major entrances, are the ones that our staff and students are coming into.
So last question I have, and I'm guessing like any other trade or any other specialty, there's things that are in the works and that kind of stuff. And I hate to even say it out publicly, but it seems to be very vulnerable when you have buses lined up, kids coming in and out from buses. I mean, what are we doing about security on buses as they arrive to the school or they're getting ready to depart school that keeps people from just walking up on a school bus that has more than 10 children on it?
You're asking great questions. If
I mean,
may-
is there a trend? Are they looking at that in your industry? I mean, I would assume I'm not the brightest person here, I'm just thinking, if I'm thinking about it, unfortunately, somebody else might be.
You're absolutely right. We're having these conversations, sir, about how do we look at the technologies that are available to us, and looking to see what's the current technologies out there. But I think you're getting to a great point, and that is, at the inception of the day, whether it's at the bus stop, I mean, we own all of those, and so we are always looking at what are the latest technologies out there that we can incorporate, whether it's bus, whether it's schools, et cetera, to provide safety and security to enhance safety and security for our students and staff. But you're asking some great questions, and we hopefully, again, will have a more robust conversation at our joint meeting.
I know you all will. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So with that, looking back at our CIP needs, I'd like to share three what I think are noteworthy overarching needs that we have, and then Dr. Coleman will go into more depth about some of our future needs. But if I may, as superintendent, I'll share what I think are three critically important needs moving forward. And one is our bus garage, our fleet services building, which is actually not very far from here. Building was built, and help me, Dr. Coleman, I think in the 1950s. And as you can see from the image here, very little, perhaps no work has been done in that amount of time. In roughly 70 years, you can see the bus cannot even fit in there. And when it's 100 degrees outside, the gentlemen are working in 100-degree temperatures. When it's 10 degrees, they're working in those environments. So this is certainly something that I think we need to address. And to you all's credit, you've given us some dollars to start the designing phase of that. But this is something that we need to look at, and how can we move forward in the years to come. A new West Side, by far the oldest building in our school division, and lots of work needs to happen there. So I'm just putting this there really as sort of a placeholder to have conversation in the future, but I would venture to say that there's definitely need for a new West Side. And third, and something that we may not have been talking about as much as I think we should be, and that is in the future renovating Smithfield High School. Again, I think the school was built in the early 80s, and there's been virtually no major work done there. Also, something that I think is noteworthy, this building is actually the current building, not the model here. The current building is actually already over capacity. What I think some people don't know is that we are using approximately 20 classrooms in the middle school for students at Smithfield High School. And if we weren't using Smithfield Middle School, I truly don't know what we would do. Probably would have, mobile units, and because of the way the building is designed, the parking lot, I'm not even sure we would have enough space for them, but we are using a significant portion of our middle school to accommodate the needs of the high school. So again, I want to note that the high school is currently overstaffed given the square footage that we have. Those are the three that I wanted to highlight, and Dr. Coleman will go into depth about some of our other capital improvement project needs.
Absolutely. Good evening, board members. First, I wanted to take time out to discuss the CIP and how it's constructed. We discussed this over the last couple of years, but for the general viewing public, I wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. Some individuals always ask, why can't this be added to the CIP, or why can't this item be added to the CIP? It's annually updated multi-year plan, large-scale projects exceeding $50,000 with a lifespan of 5 years. So a lot of the items that individuals bring to us, it doesn't meet the criteria. That's why it's not on the CIP. And of course, it's submitted to the County Board of Supervisors. What I have on the right is a diagram of what we normally use. We've used the last 2 or 3 years. This is how we actually rank the items before we bring them up to the approval level of the school board to the Board of Supervisors. So it looks like this. It's more of a metric. Next is the information that was put into this, to the ranking system. On the left-hand side, you'll see the school board ranking for the CIP items of 2024, 2025. These were the items that were unfunded and did not make the top 5 items, that are the athletic materials, division-wide bathroom repair, and so on. In the middle is the 2025, 2026 community survey. Every year before we roll out with the new CIP, we make sure that we send out surveys to the community and find out the needs of the community, the desires of what the community members want to see. And on the right-hand side is the projected division projects for the 2025, 2026 school year. We take all of these items, we combine them into one list, and we're going to come back to this. And this is how we put the same matrix together, and the school board members then rank them individually, and at the end, we compile all the lists. One thing that you will notice is that the lower numbers are higher priority, and anything in red is recommended deferral by the school board member for the next year. So that's another thing that you will see. Pending CIP items. As Dr. Kramer alluded to, the Fleet Service Building, one thing that we did not want to have fall off the radar is the remainder of the Fleet Service Building. We already know the amount of money that we put forth for the architectural design and the engineering designs, but once again, this is the amount that's going to be left. I did want to include, this does not include annual escalation costs. Okay, this does not include annual escalation costs. And of course, the 5 school buses annually. And I just put a note on the side, items have been initiated with architectural design and fees, but designated by the school Board of Supervisors as funded expense for the FY 26-27 school year. Here you will see the final school board ranking. Once everything was said and done, the top 5 items are listed below right there. You're going to see a question mark on the cost of the new West Side, and the reason for the question mark, I think you all know, there has been no architectural design, no design fees for that building completed at this time. So there's no way for me to get a design except by going on the state website and just putting in a projected square footage based off of schools and other localities. But there's so many factors that can take that to the left or take that to the right. I do not feel comfortable with presenting an amount of that nature until we can get more of a set design.
Can you
And I can
remind
go
me
back.
how much Hardy cost to build?
Hardy cost, what was it, 38 million. It's a little bit over 38 million. The water tower actually put it over to, well, it was 36 million. The water tower actually was 2.5 million. Are there any questions at this time? Go right here.
I know that we have our meeting coming up, so back to the bus garage. I don't know, maybe I'll provide this, and I apologize if I overlooked it. The bus garage, how do we compare with other, I don't need this information right now, but how do we compare with other counties in the region as far as what they have, for as, we'll call it amenities and abilities in the bus garages? Compared to others in the region, counties that is, I don't think cities are fair, because we don't have that kind of tax rate. And what we're proposed, what y'all are looking at, how does that compare, again, with counties in the region? And I said, I don't need that answer or anything now, but I just think that would be interesting to look, so we can see what, when our constituents want to know why, we can say it's not outlandish or it's not unreasonable, I guess, maybe right terms, I don't know.
Thank you for the question. If we can, it's something we'll look to get and share at the upcoming meeting.
Okay. And I noticed y'all moved West Side to the #1 spot of things you like to do, we'll say.
And that is on which one? This section?
New West Side, that's a good
And
one.
remember, that was what we wanted. Our board had a slightly different vote.
No,
but,
that's all good. You'll see where I'm going with this.
Okay.
So, with schools, I believe you can go back to video and see that I was in favor of us replacing West Side to begin with. For other reasons, we started towards Hardy. We even, I think this board actually, we looked at the bones of the Hardy Elementary to question whether or not it should be remodeled, et cetera. And apparently it came back a little better than maybe what we thought. Actually, I think it came back fine, honestly. I think that's why y'all retained some of that for admin building. But I don't argue with the west side, but I know that y'all understand, and our citizens certainly understand. It was interesting when we got into the Hardy Elementary. We were fortunate that the bond or the interest rates were what they were, but we weren't so fortunate that we were competing with construction projects like Amazon, et cetera, that raised the cost of that building incredibly fast, really. So I know that y'all know this, but for people that are just looking, I know none of us take this lightly. We honestly don't take lightly the fact that our children are in a school, which I know y'all have done a very good job of maintaining and trying to keep it very presentable, but it still is a very old school.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you, sir.
I got one question. You said that the Smithfield School is overstaffed. So now, when these new developments come in, are we projecting that and letting the people know, the developers know that they're overstaffed?
Yes,
and
sir.
there's an
First, I want to
impact?
make sure, not overstaffed, overcapacity.
Overcapacity.
Yes, sir. It's overcapacity with students.
Wait, can we delineate what the distinction there?
Overstaffed, more staff than we actually need in the building, teachers and staff of that nature.
So we have enough teachers for the students we have, but the building, the physical building, not to cut you off, Dr. Cohen, the physical building cannot accommodate all of the students we have.
Cannot accommodate all of the students.
Correct, which is why we are using Smithfield Middle School. And we have been doing that for quite a few years, well before my arrival. Smithfield Middle School, virtually the wing, one of the wings at Smithfield Middle School is being used for the high school. So the physical building cannot accommodate the number of students we have at Smithfield High School.
But as you were saying, with the, where you were relating to the proffers, is that where you're trying to get to? Yes, sir. There's a couple of different, I think it's 5 different projects that we have on the rink, and they can be related directly to proffers based off of capacity. And those items are listed on there. The new West Side, Smithfield High School, for a fact, it's going to be the addressing concerns for traffic at the elementary schools, at 2 of the elementary schools. And of course, there's going to be another one. It's one more on there. I can't see it right now. But
Parking lot?
yes, it's the parking lot. Absolutely, as Dr. Kramer alluded to earlier, the parking lot. All of those affect capacity 100%. As the schools increase in capacity, the number of students come, the traffic, more traffic, as you already know, the amount of parents that are dropping their students off, dropping their kids off, more than riding the bus. And you know it in places like Hardy, and places like Carrollton, places like Westside for a while until we were able to reconstruct that traffic pattern. So that's what you're going to see on a regular basis.
So Dr. Coleman, correct me if I'm wrong, but to restate your program capacity and, look to the future for your needs for the children, that's one of the very reasons that you engaged Titular Vice, correct?
Absolutely. Yes,
And
it
we
is.
hope that that's one of the items on our joint agenda
It is.
on the 7th of October.
Certainly will be, yes, absolutely.
And this question don't have anything to do with the CIP, but in the morning when I come through Smithfield, up on 258,
Yes, sir.
I see these teachers out there directing traffic. And I'm saying, why we got teachers directing traffic when we got the local police, Isle of Wight Police, Smithfield Police? Why they not directing traffic?
And the local police, they do assist. When we first started off school, I think you've seen them out there for the first week or two, but and they're just really going above and beyond to direct traffic to help us out. But after that, they do have other calls, and we can talk a little bit more in detail about that a little later. But that is an assigned duty. But that's one thing that we're looking at trying to maneuver so they do not have to be out there. At this time, we're working through a couple of other areas, other schools, to see what other options that we do have for that. Instead of having our teachers out there, have those local law enforcement or individuals out there that can assist.
And to Dr. Coleman's point, Vice Chair Jefferson, I think we made some improvements on 258 in front of West Side with rerouting some of the traffic in the back of the building, having the parent drop off and pick up in the back. So I think he's gotten significantly better than it was, but we're always looking for ways to make improvements.
Right. And my point wasn't so much about the traffic, but my concern was about the teachers
Sure.
being out there in the roadway.
To circle back a little bit to the west side part, I had mentioned previously about west side, and one of the things that kind of caught my attention is when I was told Hardy, when we replaced Hardy, we built a bigger school to add capacity that would take some of the strain off the other schools. Would it be right to assume that with a new west side, that would relieve some of the stress that you have on the existing middle school building, which would allow you to, if you had to, push more into that structure for your high school education purposes, I guess is right?
Absolutely. I think you're asking a great question. In fact, one of the very relevant points here regarding Smithfield Middle School, we're particularly looking at a new model. We would like to look at a K-5 model, and then that would allow Smithfield Middle School to look at a 6, 7, 8 model.
Right.
And that way, we do think we could take some of the burden off of some of the other schools. And to your point, yes, building Hardy, a little bit larger, did absorb some of the overflow at Carrollton. Remember, Carrollton was over capacity as well, and the new Hardy has helped us in that area. But yes, I think moving forward with our replacement west side, we would certainly want to build that so it's not just a replacement building, but absorbing some of the additional capacity in the Carrollton area. And as you see, we see the growth that's going to be forthcoming with all of the developments in that area. So yes, I think that will be able to help us in the foreseeable future as well.
So lastly, your staff educated us. It was a wonderful exercise we went to do Hardy Elementary, and that I learned a lot. So my understanding is there might be somebody who said, well, just build a new high school. But as I had understood from your staff and others, that when you go to build a high school, the cost per square foot is significantly higher than, say, a middle school or even elementary school. Is that, sir? Is that true?
Absolutely. Don't quote me on this number, but one of our neighboring jurisdictions is building a new high school, and the number is quoted in excess of $200 million. So when you factor in building a stadium, multiple gymnasiums, et cetera, you're looking at a few $100 million. So yes, that number is in excess of $200 million for certain high schools. I imagine some could be less than that, but again, I won't mention which city that is, but the number is quoted to be well over, I think about $220 million is the number that's been floated around for a new high school, which is why we did not ask for a new high school. We're asking maybe for a renovation.
But again, citizens sometimes wonder, why wouldn't we just do, and I know that y'all are the experts, and we would direct them to you to ask those questions, but I thought it was just an opportunity.
No, that was a great, thanks for that question. Yes, these costs are just astronomical. Yes.
Dr. Kramer, it's a lot more fun to plan for a new school than to close 9, right?
Yes, ma'am, it certainly is.
Earlier in the year, you'd also had a discussion about the band room and some renovations and things that would take place, and help me understand, but I thought with the process and what was presented that it would loosen up a couple of the rooms and you would actually gain a certain amount of capacity. Would you explain that and how that fits into this picture?
That is correct, and I'll ask Dr. Coleman to go in depth a bit more, but a few things I can cite. By us moving into the former Hardy Elementary, our technology department was in Smithfield High School. So they have just recently moved over into the repurposed building with us, and that's given the high school back about three and a half classrooms. And yes, the band room is going to give us some capacity as well. And you can speak to that. I think proffers certainly helped to make that occur, but that construction hasn't occurred yet, will occur, but yes, that will give us some space back to the high school as well.
And when that does, what would move out of the middle school in terms of student population?
At the moment, nothing is going to move out
Once
of the
it
middle school.
is done, though?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
Once the renovations are done, will you not be able to gain back some of those classrooms for the middle school students?
Our hope is that if and when we are able to renovate Smithfield High School, our expectation, as I stated, would be to hopefully look at a new model. We probably have 5 different models. We have a K3, a K4, 4, 5, 6. One of our middle schools is 6, 7, 8, and one is 7, 8. So we would like to have a more conventional K5, middle school 6, 7, 8, and high schools 9, 12. It would allow us to be able to have a more conventional model that we can't have now.
And remind us how many classrooms renovating the band room reclaims?
Renovating the band room is gonna be a little different because you already know the, I guess you can say, the layout of the band room. So that may be 1 class, maybe 2 if it's divided properly, but that's only if that space can be used for instructional purposes and what type of instructional purposes can be used there.
So to your point, 5 classrooms with renovation max doesn't alleviate the need for this middle school space?
No,
Not at all.
not even
Not at
close.
all.
No.
Not at all.
It helps, any additional capacity certainly helps,
Right.
but it's not going to, revolutionize what we think our needs are. We're going to need something more significant than that.
Yeah, I appreciate the discussion on the capacity and the thorough discussion on how the middle school is being used to, mitigate that to meet the need for education. Could you remind me the number of classrooms that are displaced and how many students are represented by that displacement?
I know it's 19 classes. I don't know the exact number of students.
I'd rather not venture a number. If we can work on getting that for you, Mr. DeStefano, and at our joint meeting, let's have that number. I could certainly project roughly the number of classes per the
Right.
classrooms, but I'd rather give you a more accurate number, and we can work on getting that.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay. Other questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Members? Okay. Thank you very much.
And thank you all so very much, and look
Appreciate
forward to
that.
our future meetings. Would like to state that our chair is here. Chair Marsh is here supporting us as well, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so very much.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Robertson?
I think the next
I think the next item is me, Mr. Chairman.
There you go.
And I have one item that I need to bring to your attention. At your August meeting, one of the items on there was the rezoning request for Bridgepoint Commons. You'll recall that Mr. Jefferson made a motion to approve that, and that motion failed. That shortly thereafter, we took a break and then moved on, and it dawned on me that under our procedures, a motion to approve that fails is not the same thing as a motion to deny. So on a technical basis, that application is still pending. And it'd be my suggestion that you authorize that matter be placed back on your October 16th regular meeting under old business for this body to take whatever action it deems to be appropriate to deal with that application.
Okay. We have a
Does it have
motion.
to be October? Could it be November or December?
It could be whatever date that you would like, but it would, my suggestion would be to have it announced as to when it's going to be on the agenda to let the public know, because I suspect they left thinking that matter was concluded. I've reached out to the applicant's attorney to let them know what had happened, because they wanted to know if they needed to be here tonight, and I said they're going to select a date, but whatever date this body chooses, it doesn't have to be October. That's just your next regular meeting.
What's your pleasure?
I'd like to give them a little bit more time than October.
and-
I don't have a problem with that. So you want to make a motion?
It's the motion. We'll give it a month. I mean, we're going to say what month it's going to be back. I mean, we need to let people know. Otherwise, the perception is we're moving this around to keep it from people, which I know is not the intent.
Right, that's why I brought it up this evening as opposed to just having someone place it
Right.
on the agenda. Your November meeting is your regular meeting in November is November 20, if you want it, just for date purposes.
Okay, I move that we, move consideration of the Bridgepoint rezoning application to our regular meeting November 20th.
I do have a question. I think I know the answer. Would that be a public hearing on that?
It would not be a public hearing.
So the only people that could speak during that time would be who? The board and the applicant?
The
or
board,
just
if
the
you had
board?
questions of the staff regarding it, if there's something, and again, as it is a pending application, if the applicant wants to make changes to what they have between now and then, that may necessitate it going back to the planning commission, depending on the changes, and then that would institute new public hearings, depending on the changes that are made. Again, that's the board's prerogative as to whether they believe it should go back or not. But it would not be advertised in the newspaper, but I would tomorrow or Monday have IT staff put this on our website, so show up that it's, that this matter is on the agenda, but it's not a public hearing.
I would offer for consideration that this body, these individuals on the board now were the ones that actually voted on that. Would wait until November. Immediately following the election, he will no longer be in that position. There'll be someone else.
Okay.
And I have concerns about that, not saying that it would change anything, but this makeup, this board today is the same board that voted that night. In November, it will not be the same. So I do have that concern.
I mean, there's that, but Mr. Jefferson wasn't at the meeting. How many people actually voted on that?
Mr. Jefferson made the motion to approve
Oh,
it.
that's right, someone was
I
not
was
there.
a call-in.
Yeah, but it was,
But you did vote?
all five voted,
Oh, they
yes.
did? Oh.
He was just electronic.
I'm recalling some vote that we made that was short a few people.
Earlier in the meeting, he arrived about 7:15, 7:30.
Oh, that's when you were late.
Electronic difficulties.
Okay.
I just,
That's a good point.
I would, Ms. Roundtree, I know that your intent is good. I just think that by waiting until November, it may give a perception, again, that we're trying to do something different than I believe we're not. We're just simply trying to take care of a matter that we thought we took care on our previous meeting. So I would, anyway, you've got a motion.
So what's the date of the work session for November?
November 6th. It's
After the
that
election.
Thursday following the election.
Oh,
The election won't be certified.
Probably not, but I don't know.
That's what I was thinking, if we could do it. Well, I don't know whether they'd be certified or not,
Yeah, I don't know.
prior
I mean,
to that date.
Again, it's just discussion. October would seem to me to make more sense just because it's immediately following after understanding the discrepancy, as opposed to, for any number of good reasons, delaying it, which again gives perception.
And I would say at your October meeting, the applicant could, if they so chose, could ask you to defer it, if that was their intent.
Well, again, I'm just
And
offering,
I'm saying, but that would be up to the board whether you granted that motion, but, or this body could postpone it again. I mean, there's nothing that would prevent that.
I'll amend my motion to make the consideration October 20th at our regular meeting,
October 16th.
whatever. Yeah.
thank you,
think
Ms.
that's good.
Roundtree.
okay. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yeah,
Mr. Akery?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rousey?
Yes, so moved. Okay.
Good evening. I'm Shawnee Beesink, the environmental planner for the county, and today we'll be discussing the Kearney CBPA exception request. This is at 102 Titus Court. The owners are Anthony and Linda Kearney. The tax map parcel number is 2313-010. The exception is to allow an addition to the rear of the home, totaling 257 square feet. Most of the addition is the actual addition itself, which is 202 square feet. 24 square feet is going to be the stoop, and 16 feet is going to be the concrete pad at the base, and there's a 14-foot square foot area that spans between the stairs, between the stoop and the concrete pad. 145 square feet of the total 257 square feet lies within the seaward portion of the RPA, while the remaining 112 lies within the landward portion of the RPA. Some background on this property. It was constructed in 1991. The Kearneys are the original owners of the property after it was constructed. The only new impervious coverage that we've seen on any of the aerials was in 2010, which was a carport. Here's an overview, kind of zoomed out. It's off Smith's Neck side road, as you can see. Down below is Titus Creek Drive, and they're on Titus Creek. We're going to zoom in a little bit more. There's a proposed site to the rear of the property. Those sheds predate even the 2010, so they've been there a while. Here, as you can see, the blue is going to be the potential RPA on the property. Your green is the wetlands, and the red outline is going to be the flood zones. And I zoomed in a little bit more on the side picture just to show you that the flood zone actually doesn't affect the addition. It's just kind of hard to see when you have the big map. So here is the site plan and proposed plantings. There's a laydown area for it. It's in the 50-foot buffer, and they proposed adequate plantings that meet the riparian buffer guideline for DEQ. And they will all be planted within the 100-foot RPA, which is essentially about 80% of the lot anyway. Zooming in more, this is the wetlands that they found on the property. Your light orange is going to be the approximate 50-foot buffer, or your seaward portion, and the dark orange is going to be the 100-foot RPA buffer. These are just some aerial views that were in the WQIA showing the property. Coming down, you can see the little entryway behind the house where the wetlands kind of come in. Aerial shots from above, as you can see, the area that they're proposing is already cleared. This is just some more screenshots of the rear of the home. That porch will disappear, and that's kind of where the addition will come off. For this exception, there are 5 criteria that the board, and I apologize, this is Planning Commission, I did not fix that, shall recommend favor of. The strict application of the ordinance would produce an undue hardship and would not confer upon the applicant any special privileges that the other neighbors have not had. This is a reasonable use of the property. It's already established as a residential use. And the record search indicates that adjacent properties along this roadway have not encroached into the 50-foot seaward portion for any need, and therefore this would not constitute a unique hardship and would grant a special privilege to this applicant, as the other properties have not needed to expand into the RPA. Number 2, the exception request is not based on any conditions or circumstances that are self-created or self-imposed, and nor does the request arise from conditions or circumstances, either permitted or non-conforming, that are related to adjacent properties. Again, the home was built in 1991. Around that time, that's when the CBPA ordinance came into effect. The applicant applied for the exception, and when they were denied, they immediately began the exception process of obtaining the WQIA and everything that was needed for that. Number 3, the exception request is the minimum necessary to afford relief. The lots in the surrounding area have not had any additional encroachments, as I stated before. However, the 250 square foot addition is the minimum necessary to get the expansion that they need to the rear of the home. Number 4, the exception request will be in harmony with the purpose and intent of this ordinance and not detrimental to water quality. The addition and the required components do not meet the proposed intent of the ordinance, which is to safeguard the water quality through protection of existing buffers and establishment of buffers where they do not exist. The backyard, like I said, is not vegetated where this addition is, which is in the RPA. The addition and the components are within the 50-foot landward and seaward portion, so the entire proposed addition lies within the RPA. Therefore, the new impervious coverage is not in harmony with the CBPA. Number 5 is reasonable and appropriate conditions are imposed which would prevent the exception request from causing a degradation to water quality. We ask that if the exception were approved, that the applicant be required to install the mitigation landscaping as proposed in the WQIA, which does meet the minimum requirements by the state, and that no further exceptions be granted. Staff conclusions, the strengths is that the landscaping does meet the ordinance. Weaknesses is that it does not meet the 5 criteria for the exception, and the addition lies entirely within the RPA with 145 square feet of it in the seaward portion. Based on this, staff recommends denial of the exception request, and if it was approved, like I stated before, the planting be as proposed and no further exceptions. After Planning Commission, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the exception with the condition that the landscaping be installed as proposed, but they wanted to remove the recommendation for no further exceptions to be granted on the lot. Any questions?
Other members?
Public hearing.
It's a public hearing.
Read my smart sheet. So as we move to the public hearing, we have some opportunity for citizen comments, correct? Or
Well,
no?
the applicant is, I believe, present.
Okay. Applicants, would you like to come forward?
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you guys tonight. This is my wife Linda, and I'm Anthony. We're at 102 Titus Court, Carrollton, Virginia. And I have a brief statement to make. My wife and I, Linda, moved to Alawite County in 1991 with the dream of raising our family in a peaceful, community-like setting. We were fortunate to build our home on a quiet cul-de-sac of just 9 houses where we raised our 2 children and became deeply rooted in this wonderful community. Our home is a modest 1,290 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. It was built within our means because of the cost. Back in that day, that's all we could do. Let's see. Let me just find my place. We were never informed about potential wetland issues until we were applying for the permit. On 5/21/2024, we were granted an electrical permit to move the electrical from the back of the building to the side of the building, which was required to build on the back, and we're given that permit. Let's see. It was a 200 amp panel box from back to back for a future addition. And in the last meeting, there was some discussion about why we were granted permission to move that panel box if it wasn't meeting the standards. And that's why it ended up being approved, I think. But now retired, we are looking forward to enjoying the next chapter of our lives in a home that we have cherished for so long. In preparation for our future, we're requesting the approval of a modest 200 square foot addition to the back of our house that would involve moving the back wall back 8 feet. This addition will not include any bedrooms, bathrooms. The sole purpose is to make our kitchen, dining room, and laundry room safer and more accessible. Currently, the entryways to those areas are 27 inches. And 27 inches wide, making it difficulty to navigate. We just bought a brand new washing machine. We had to tear part of the wall out to put the washing machine in. There's just no room there. Let's see. Oh, let me find my wife is telling me what I'm missing.
You're a smart man.
Let's see, where is that at?
As we do.
Where's it at?
As we deal with the struggles of aging, we have found this area very tight space. Allowing this addition will alleviate some of these issues and some of our concerns. We began with each page.
Just go ahead and speak. I got it. We began the process over 15 months ago, 15 months ago, starting with the relocation of the electrical box, which was required before moving forward with the addition. We received a permit that allowed us to do that. However, when we returned to apply for the second permit for the addition, we were turned down. We were denied the ability to do that because of wetlands, okay? Following guidance from Alawite staff, we applied for an application for Chesapeake Bay Preservation Area Ordinance exception. We were told that that's the only way we could get it, is we had to go through this exception. We also were encouraged in this direction by the late William McCarty. I met him at Rite Aid one night,
And as he would talk to anybody.
He would, wouldn't
And I just said, can I talk to you for a few minutes? And I told him what he had gone through and where we were. And he encouraged me to follow the policy and that he would advocate for me in this meeting. Well, we know that he's now not here. But I have in my phone his text that says to me, I will advocate for you. And I would ask some of you to please advocate for me like he would have. Let's see, where am I, dear? To this date, we have invested $15,000 in preparation for this edition. This includes electoral work, architectural plans, a delineation report by Canada Land Survey, as well as a quality analysis by Stokes Environmental, which was recommended, one of the names given by White County. Our files contain all of those documents. Additionally, Stokes Environmental reviewed our site plan and concluded, quote, "The proposed addition does not conflict with the Chesapeake Bay Ordinance," unquote. The proposed work includes 145 foot in the seaward portion and 112 feet in the landward portion with added vegetation, added vegetation buffers that will more than offset the buffer zone. We have agreed to do the trees and the buffers for the vegetation. Both the delineation and land survey reports confirm our compliance with the relevant environmental regulations. We have also been advised that this small addition would increase our property value, which is okay with us, that's more taxes, but conversely, a denial would signal that our property is no longer as valuable, and that's concerning to us. To be clear, this addition includes no plumbing, no bathrooms, no bedrooms, simply an 8 foot by 24 space for greater safety and functioning. We spoke with our neighbors because we knew they all got letters, because we got one too, and everyone on our block signed approval except for one that was not home and couldn't get them. We sincerely appreciate your consideration for our request for this exception. Any questions, anything I can answer for you? I'm sorry, I'm so nervous, but.
Don't be.
Not a
We
public
work for you.
speaker.
Not this time, we'll call you back up if we need to.
Yes, sir.
At this time, for the purpose of allowing members of the public to present any matter which, in their opinion, deserves.
Do that.
I don't,
Open the public hearing up.
okay.
You just asked if there's anyone that wishes to
We
speak
get
for
no-
or against the application.
Anyone that wants to speak for or against? Okay, so we
Close the public hearing.
go to public hearing. Board members, what's your,
With this application, it's my opinion that it is a modest design. The homeowner showed a willingness to make the recommended vegetation plantings, and they are following the county and Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act code, not asking for an after-the-fact exception. The hardships and the other criteria, I was able to work my way through that to the point where I found a way that, at least for me, I opinion that it meets those. And so I'll make the motion that this gets approved.
okay? Any other comments?
Are you including like what the planning commission also included? It was on a different slide, but where they
The exception
removed
part.
the exception. Is that part of your motion?
Right, with the correction, let me amend it, including the recommendations from the planning commission, because they had recommended that the vegetation be applied and then also no future exceptions granted. So
Now,
The planning commission
remove
removed
no
that
future-
second exception, for no future exceptions, they've removed that.
okay. So I agree to remove that. I want to take the recommendation of the planning commission to include that criteria. So I amend my motion to include it.
Okay. Further comments? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Acree?
yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosie?
Yes, so moved.
Thank you.
Good evening, board members. My name is Cordelis Benson. I'm a planner in community development. This public hearing item is an application to rezone a property with the intent to create an additional lot for a single-family dwelling. The tax map number is 19-01-009. The location is next to 11371 Raynard Road, near the intersection of Comment Road and Raynard Road. The property is zoned rural agricultural conservation. It's an election district D3, and again, it's to create an additional lot for a single-family dwelling with conditions. This is a site map showing exactly where it's located. You can see the intersection up here of Comet Road, and then this would be Raynard. The property would be cut right here, and we'll get a look at that in just a second. The current zoning for this area is primarily rural agricultural conservation with some rural residential areas around it. Future land use shows that it's primarily RAC. The area that will be cut out will be located solely in the RAC, but the property itself also has some environmental and conservation areas attached to it. A little bit of the background for this property: the lot that is in consideration was first created back in the 1920s and was originally 157 acres. According to section 4-3004.A of the Isle of Wight County zoning ordinance, using the rural residential sliding scale, the original parcel was able to have 4 cuts or 4 total lots on it, and this cut would keep it within those boundaries. This is currently the two of the areas that have been cut out of the property, and the new cut would be placed right there. Staff analysis shows 3 strengths and no weaknesses with the application. The strengths include that the rezoning aligns with the ordinance requirements and aligns with future land use. And the third strength is that there are no objections raised from other agencies. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the rezoning request by a 9-0 vote, and based on the strength of the application and that there are no objections raised by any agencies, staff recommends approval for the application.
Okay. Thank you. We hear from the applicant.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I'm William Riddick, and I represent Mr. Seward and his wife. They're the owners of this property. He's a longtime farmer in this county, and I told the Planning Commission this, and I mean it. I don't know anybody that hates to sell land any more than Jeffrey Seward does. I mean, he really, he's one of the few. He's acquiring land, and he's trying to build his operation up for his son, and I think that's a good thing when you can pass a farm on to another generation. But he's like all the other farmers, and every once in a while they need to sell a lot, and that's what he's asking the permission to do. So I hope you consider that favorably and recommend and approve his application. Be happy to answer a question you got.
Thank you. So we open. Do we have any comments for or against? Okay, close that. Board members, what's your pleasure?
I'm guessing this lot isn't currently in production.
No, it's not.
Okay, no concern.
No other comments? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the rezoning request.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Acree?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosie?
Yes, so moved.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, Sandy Robinson.
How you doing?
I'm presenting the application this evening for rezoning 25-5 of Mr. Griffin and Mr. Smith. This is to conditional RR. Thank you, I'm sorry. The tax map number of this property is 700123. The property is located on Bobcat Lane. It is zoned RAC, it's in election district 5, and the request is rezone 2 of the acres for one single-family residence. This property previously was divided into a 2-acre parcel for a family member. The 30 acres of it was designated as agricultural use. That was in 2004. So now that 30 acres can't be used for anything other than agricultural use without this rezoning request. They want to use the 30 acres to remain vacant and the acreage he's rezoning for the house. And he's proffering that he will not subdivide any further subdivision from the property. The capital impact model results show that there's existing capacity for public facilities. The proposed zoning is consistent with the future land use plan. The request meets the minimum requirements of the zoning ordinance. There are no special flood zone designations, and it is not in the Chesapeake Bay Preservation Area. This is an exhibit showing going off of Bobcat Lane, off of 58, down to the 30-acre tract. You see the big acre tract is the 30 acres, 2 acres on the side. He wants to zone RR, but not create a lot around it, just to allow RR, just to allow the residents to be built on that 30 acres. This is the plat that was done in 2004 that created the 30-acre agricultural subdivision and cut out the little lot in the middle for a family member. This is the site. You're going down, the location map going down 58 towards Carsville. You're going to turn on the right. You're going to turn off of Bobcat Lane, off across the railroad track, and go straight into the site. The zoning map shows that this area is open. There are several single-family residences in the area, and it is a compatible use with that area. The land use map shows that it's all RAC, and there are some conservation areas or wetland type areas on the property, but not affecting this site. This is a map going, picture going towards Carsville, turning right on Bobcat Lane. Here you see you go across the railroad track into the property. The following departments have no concerns with the rezoning: the schools, fire and rescue, historic resources, the environmental planner, health department, and county attorney. The strengths of the application are the proposed use is compatible with the existing land uses in the vicinity, the proposed use is within the guidelines of the comprehensive land use plan, and no weaknesses have been determined at this time. The Planning Commission voted to recommend approval of the rezoning request at its August 26th meeting, 9-0. Based on the strengths of the application, staff has also recommended approval of the rezoning application as conditioned. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before you open the public hearing, I just want to bring up one item. Recently, you had a family member subdivision request that was off of Bobcat Lane, and they had to come in and have a waiver because it was more than so many homes on a private road. That doesn't apply to this because they're not creating a new lot. This is an existing lot that's only asking to have part of it zoned, so it'll have split zoning on this property. But I just wanted to say that there was a question as to why that they didn't need a waiver for the private drive. It's because they're not creating anything new.
Okay. Will the applicant like to come forward, please?
Hi, my name's Amanda. Do I have to give my address?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Amanda. I live at 11 Merritt Cove in Carrollton, Virginia. I'm a local realtor, and I represent my client on this application to rezone 2 of the 30 acres. Mr. Daniel Smith, he is here today. And so when I first met him, he was looking at moving from Portsmouth kind of out into the country, kind of just wanted to enjoy, you know, the peaceful and quietness that comes with that and raise his family there. This was the first and the only property that we actually looked at, and he did call it a slice of heaven. Right now it's rural use or crop use, so it's pretty much completely cleared for the most part. And then because there's multiple houses that are on that same street, it would be very easy to like move electricity down, and then there's already easement in place as well that goes down to the end of the property. So we're just looking at being able to, you know, turn his dream into reality, and we're very grateful for, you know, Sandra and all the work that she's done up to this point, and then everyone that has voted in favor of this for, and we're just hoping that y'all agree and want to move forward with us too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone like to speak in favor of or in opposition? Okay. Board members?
Okay.
No comment.
Do I have a motion? Yeah, I move that we accept this as presented. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Akery?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosie?
Yes.
Let's take a break.
If we can, let's go ahead and take a 5 or 10 minute break. We have the county administrator's report, is that not correct? You tweaked this a little bit, Don, since the last time I'd gotten it. And
Yes.
when I printed it out, that's why I was out of sequence.
No, there were a couple of items that came in at the last minute, but there were, a couple of those were under consent. But, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna, oh, she moved. I was about to say, did Amy leave? I'm gonna invite Amy up to,
Thought she left you?
talk about our comp plan 5-year review. Thanks.
Sure. Good evening, board members. My name's Amy Ring. I'm the county's Community Development Director. I would like to put a plug in for our next community feedback meeting on September 30th in Windsor on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock at the Windsor Town Center. As you recall, we are currently undergoing our 5-year review for our 2020 comprehensive plan, and we have rolled out a draft both to the stakeholders and the public for review and comment. As part of that public engagement process, we are holding 2 public meetings to get feedback. If you want to come in person and listen to the presentation and review the plan and ask questions of staff, will be available in the Windsor Town Center on September 30th. The comprehensive plan draft revisions are actually available online on the county's website at iws.net. There are some community public notices in the paper as well with some QR codes. You can scan them and go right to the link where the draft revisions are, as well as the draft Rushmere Village Master Plan. We actually just had our first community meeting up in the village of Rushmere on Tuesday night at the First Gravel Hill Baptist Church. We had about 25 people show up in the soaking rain, and we got some wonderful feedback, and they listened to a presentation not only on the 5-year comprehensive plan review, but also on the Rushmere Fire Department, the Bradby Park construction project, as well as the safety action plan that is part of the Safe Routes for our Safe Streets for All grant program. And we had some great feedback and some wonderful public participation. So we're hoping to have the same thing on the 30th in Windsor. And
Do you have dates for other?
That is the only thing that we have now. We're taking comments through the October 13th, or excuse me, October 15th on the draft plan revisions. Following those public meetings and receiving all the comments, we will take all those suggestions and incorporate them as needed in the draft revisions. At that point, we will then present it to the Planning Commission. They will hold a public hearing. That will be another opportunity for public comment. And then it will come to you all with their recommendation. We will have another public hearing, as well as another opportunity for public comment on the draft plan revisions at that time.
Would there be room for scheduling something in the Carsville area?
We can certainly look at the calendar, yes.
I think that'd be great.
Okay, certainly. Not a problem.
Yeah, obviously, and not right now, but if you've got some suggestions for dates and venues,
we can talk.
you'll let us know.
Certainly. All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Mr. Chairman, just a couple of items under informational items. I did want to point out, because this is partly to Supervisor Roundtree's question earlier about October 13th and whether offices are closed. Offices are open, but we've provided as part of the informational information.
I like we did that.
Part of the information in your board packet is that the Circuit Court Clerk's Office has issued an order for the courts building to be closed. And so court staff will be off on that date. The other is, and actually I've invited him to come and talk to us at a future meeting, but I had a meeting with the library director last week. And he shared some really, really good information that I think it would be helpful for our citizens to know. So we'll have him come and provide you all with some information of your upcoming meetings.
Yeah.
Like in October, the work
Yes.
session?
Yeah.
Donna, I can't see out in the hallway, but does the sheriff department not cover our meetings anymore? Is there somebody out?
We send them the notifications of the meetings for each meeting, and they're supposed to have representation here, but I have not seen anyone tonight.
I think I ask about it every time. Yeah, so it's been several months.
And to your point, Ms. Roundtree, I know you have brought that up before, and I don't know if y'all have received any emails or text messages, should I say, but I've received one, and it wasn't a threatening one at all, but it called to concern security in our meetings. It was a past board member, and I didn't take it lightly. I mean, I think we all want to be, as close as we can with our fellow citizens during these meetings, but at the same token, I think to your point, unfortunately, if not for our safety, then the people that are here. So I think you've got a very good point, Ms. Roundtree.
If you would like me to contact the sheriff's office, I'd be glad to.
I'd like the county administrator to formally
I'll
send an
reach out to
email,
him,
please,
sorry.
or get in touch with them.
Okay, thank you. That it for board's information?
Yes, sir.
Then we have some unfinished old business.
Yes, sir. If you recall, I brought this item to you at your work session. SIPSA, the Southeastern Public Service Authority, is considering an amendment to the use and support agreement that's currently in place. There are some minor revisions. One is to modify the definition for, recyclable waste. Then there's a provision that requires that the approval for the use and support agreement would require 75% of the member agencies to be in agreement or to provide approval. And then there is going to be a subsequent agreement that everyone will have to consider with regard to alternative waste disposal, which would also give you another chance to weigh in and vote relative to anything that might impact tip fees or any of that. So this is actually a relatively minor amendment. It also amends the date or the terms of the agreement and stretches it out to 2052, which is, again, just a matter of the length of the time that we're in agreement with one another with regard to SIPSA. But I certainly recommend your approval and would request your authorization for us to execute the amendment to the use and support agreement.
Board members? Comments?
Comments?
No comments?
I make a motion to approve this PSA use and support agreement.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Acree?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosie?
Yes, so moved.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to ask that item B be deferred to your next meeting. We're still working on a couple of items with regard to the legislative priorities. And I just talked to Delegate Waxman a few minutes ago in terms of just the timing of that. So we can get that done at the next meeting. That would still give him ample time and some of the other legislators ample time to review that in advance of this, the coming General Assembly session.
Okay, that's good with you guys? Okay.
So that would be our work session in October?
Yes. And normally, we wouldn't have any action items in front of you, but that's something I want to make sure you're all comfortable with.
Does the Chamber of Commerce still do a legislative agenda?
They used to, I don't know that they've done one in the last couple of years. I know we talked about it, but I don't recall them actually adopting specific positions on anything.
That the one that Holland used to help sponsor, support, or something, I don't know.
Well, that was a pre-legislative event, but they actually used to have a legislative priority list, much like the county has in terms of business-related.
Pro-business policies, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, we need a motion to amend the agenda to do that.
No, it's just no action. No action to be taken.
Okay.
Item C, Mr. Chairman, is, we've talked about this previously. We've reached out to you, and you all have provided feedback with regard to your annual retreat and have suggested that October 7th is a date that works. And so we have tentatively scheduled your retreat for October 7th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pretty much full day. We will have a facilitator to come in and assist with the discussion of that day, obviously with the focus being on the strategic plan. And so if you have not done so already, I encourage you to fill out the survey that she sent out or sent to us and ask for feedback on. I think she was looking for that by next Friday 26th. And if you could get that back to her, that would be fantastic. She's going to work on, some of the things that vision statement, mission statement, all of those things to provide some feedback. And I know Ms. Roundtree has also provided some suggestions in that regard. Not that we're trying to rush you through the day, but quite frankly, if we can get some of that stuff done earlier in the process, that will allow a lot more time for discussion about your goals and objectives and some of the more meatier items that you might want to discuss during your retreat.
I mean, obviously, that's an open public meeting, but who all from staff will be there?
We're going to have all of our department heads there.
On the agenda, what time is the school board officially? We're going to be trying to meet
So,
with them.
separate meeting.
Okay.
We're coming to that in just a minute.
Okay.
But,
All the department directors. So last time we had our strategic planning meeting was October of '24.
correct.
And I thought it was good, right? But I also thought that it was a lot of people. And sometimes when, I don't know, sometimes I think there's a couple different phenomena that go on, right? There's a group think, there's also, could possibly happen, because I facilitate groups all the time.
You might have done one of our retreats.
I may have. But sometimes, and that retreat that I facilitated did not include the department directors. It was the board members just not being afraid really, or, having any trepidation for sharing their honest opinion. And, the paper even showed up with that one. My point is that you get, to a group that's approaching 20 people, and then some people want, like, we don't have trouble opening our mouths, but some people might not speak up if.
So my intent in having them there was really to be a resource to you all as you're having your conversation or discussions. If you had questions about something that perhaps staff could provide some feedback or information on, but it's your retreat. If you'd prefer to do that without staff being there, that's your prerogative.
I have to say that, and not because she's here, but it just happens she's here. The one that Renee did allow us to focus as a board on the issues. And I'm not saying staff did anything wrong at all, but it was, like you said, it was a phenomenon. It was kind of strange. It was just so many people in the room. And there was a couple times it was nice having that resource there, because I think some things got brought up and the right person could stand up and ask. But maybe that's where we have to plan it, which I guess is what you had done during the one that you facilitated. So I don't know. I don't mean to go on and on, but.
Well, and not that
I
this is
agree
my
with you.
retreat to facilitate, because it's not, and we're hiring somebody to do that. But, perhaps we have a period of time, other retreats I've been in, it's like, well, you spend a little bit of time just getting to know each other, right? You do a couple icebreakers, you get comfortable with each other. It's not very often we're in an informal setting together so that we can work well. Perhaps it's contemplate strategic plan items, and then in the early afternoon, maybe the directors come and talk about the actual, where the rubber meets the road, right? If that makes sense. Again, I'm not the one facilitating, but maybe it's a two-part.
Yeah, and we'd have to reach out to Dr. Davis in terms of kind of how the agenda's being laid out, but.
We're paying her. She should do what we want.
No, I'm just saying, but in terms of the timing of that.
Right.
But you tell us if you want, some alone time to work through certain issues, and then you want staff in for a portion of the
I
day,
think
if
that-
that's your preference.
I think there might be value in maybe the first couple hours where we do have our time together, and then we start bringing
So maybe
others
bring
in.
staff in about midday.
Start at, we have lunch together.
Yeah, okay.
Bring them in at 11 or something, maybe.
So
11:30.
our work session is on the 2nd, correct? Or we're not having that? And let me tell you where I'm going with this.
Okay.
So we meet on the 2nd, depending on how some of us, maybe me, run our mouth. We could be here late, or we could be here early. But there's no doubt that on the 7th, because the next paragraph, which is what we're getting ready to get to, you show up at 9, you go till 4, then you take a break of some sort, then at 5, we're going to meet with the school board. If that retreat is anything, we're going to be done at 4 o'clock. I don't mean done like it's over with, thanks for coming. I'm talking about mentally, nothing. I'm not going to be in any, if it's a good retreat. I mean, if we're going to take a nap and just, hang out, then maybe it's be different. But I'm going to be done with listening to statistics, processes, et cetera, so on, to sit in a meeting, unless we're doing a 30-minute meeting, which that's not the case, particularly if you got somebody like me that likes to run his mouth. We're going to be there 2 or 3 hours. It's not maybe as much as 4. That's a long freaking day. I don't really have an appetite for that.
Well, some of us suggested that because, much like you, I have to take a day off.
Yeah, I'm
So-
taking a day off. Yeah.
Right, so to take the day off on the 7th and just do it all on the 7th was just what, I know that's what Thomas preferred to, versus
I don't
splitting it
disagree,
on 2 different
but-
days.
Mr. Jefferson had some of the same concerns.
I'm gonna be done at 5, and that's unfortunate because I think they want us to be. Y'all obviously, I wish I could have that trait, but I think by 5 o'clock I'm gonna be pretty much done with stuff, and I'm gonna need. I mean, again, I don't know. That's
And I
another day.
address, I share with Donna the exact same thing. I think I'll be burnt out by 5 too.
So
we should have a meeting after.
So kind of what we had talked about in terms of, since we're there, the second part of this, being the joint meeting with the schools, was to limit that meeting to a couple of hours, so from 5 to 7. Ironically, we were talking about it in the office one day, and we went back and looked at the minutes from what you all did last year. It was literally 2 hours. So, I
Just a
get
10-hour
it. It's
day.
still a long day.
Just a 10-hour day.
It's still a long day.
On your vacation.
But, but the
It's a nice
intent,
vacation day, a 10-hour day talking about. Anyway.
Well, could we
But
do
the-
it on the
we asked for it.
but the
Could we
intent
not
was
have a
to
work
limit
session
the
on the
amount of
2nd?
time that
Could we do
you're
it on
in
the
that.
2nd? Not have a work session on the 2nd?
Do which part on the second?
The school board meeting.
I can reach out to them. I mean, they kind of have the same dilemma in terms of people's schedules or whatever. So I don't know. We can certainly reach out to them and see if they're available on the
That's really
second.
close.
I mean, I guess we
And
just.
just substitute your,
work-
that for your work session.
Yeah, I mean.
or a portion of it
I think we
anyway.
just put 2 things, unfortunately, on the work session agenda.
Oh,
Which you'll
but
have to
they're going to
vote.
be really quick items.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Again, I can reach out to them and have that conversation now.
I mean, to
If-
Supervisor Jefferson's point, I mean, if we're gonna give them our full attention and really, the point of this joint session, which is what we did last year with them, was to start talking about budget for next year, right? So everybody needs a fresh mind and a sharp tail to start doing that.
I just would say, and I know I'm speaking to the choir here, or preaching to the choir, should I say, is I have said in those meetings, and we've come to conclusions, we've come to expectations, and maybe somewhat of an understanding, only to find out later months that I felt like I wasted my time. And they did what they wanted to do, did what they needed to do, did what they felt they needed to do. I'm not trying to be judgmental about what they're doing. My point is, when you spend a day and there's seemingly an understanding at the end of the meeting, and that understanding either gets lost in translation, it doesn't end up. And whether that's positions that I've touted over the last, because I think that was year before last or last year, or other things, we completely understand they're a board just like us. They can do what they want to do. And they do. But if we're going to have a meeting and at the end of the day, our agreement is an agreement or our understanding is an understanding, I think they're worth the time. But that hasn't necessarily been the case in the last meetings, in my opinion.
So it's my hope by this joint meeting, whenever it is, 2nd, 7th, whatever, whenever we're able to have it, that the information that the school board will have gotten back from their Tischler Weiss study is dovetailed with, hopefully we have our Tischler Weiss study back before our planning retreat on the 7th as well. We've certainly now, Tischler Weiss says we're one of their best customers. Certainly, we've now both paid them money.
So your point
to
is
do-
that would be a focus. I think you got a really good point there.
That would be a focus, and I do think it's part of what makes this meeting potentially different.
Right.
Because there's a
Good point.
focus on this study that's coordinated, that we both commissioned and hopefully are in alignment. They're, Tischler Weiss not using one number for them and one number for
Right.
us, right? Everything kind of flows like a
That's a
ribbon.
really good point. We're sitting at the same table looking
And
at
we're
both
sitting at the
questions.
same table and we
Good-
look
good
at
point.
it, and then, it begins to start to help us talk about budget. I think because of all that, there's gonna be a lot of new information on program capacity, profitable, options to support the schools, different things. I
That's a
think
good
it'll be
point.
a very different meeting.
That's
And I don't want us to just be like mind wasted by the time that we do that. So, I mean, if it means that the 7th is a bad time, then we should do it some other time.
Like you said, they're somewhat earlier the better, so we're able to kind of bring that together, right? So the second, I know we don't know if they're available, but, and we
can
don't
reach
need
out-
their entire board, by the way.
Right,
The
and
chairman, vice chair, or
Right.
whatever.
but we say every year, man, we wish we started working on budget sooner, right? Wish we had a joint school board meeting, and we started talking about these things, because then we get into the budget after the first of the year, or after February, and it's all we can think about. It's all consuming, all we can do from February to May, whenever it's passed. And every time we say, I really wish we would have thought about this, a little earlier, back the train up, start a little more strategic, which is why we're trying to do it.
I think you got a really good point, and maybe this is the time to kind of segue into this part before we get into the budget season, and maybe to some degree even while or before we meet with the schools, collectively, if we can, figure out what our priorities are going to be. You can't do 12, we know the money, and we can't do all the things that we'd love to do, that we know needs to be done at the same time. It seems to me, particularly as good as we've got such a wonderful staff that's willing to do whatever if we point them in the right direction, they're going to do it. And if we can come together as a vision on the front side and say, these are our 1 or 2, 3 priorities, and I'll throw out an example because it's seemingly, I think it's on top of everybody's mind, and that's recruitment and retention of staff or personnel. So that, of course, ties to salary and all that kind of stuff. If that's going to be, for example, this body decided that's going to be our number one focus, kind of like legislative priorities, right? Before we kick off the budget. And we're not running down this way, that way, trying to justify with the expense or whatever. If we tell the board, or I'm sorry, the staff, tell our staff, and the school board's going to hear it too, that this is our focus this year. So they may want to get in line if it's in line with the focus that we're trying to do, as opposed to bus garage, sidewalks, crosswalks, and I'm just throwing that out there because it's not stuff they really necessarily want. But I think that would help us a lot, and I think it would definitely give staff some direction. And we're just trying really hard to dig in the weeds and put it all out there for our public. But I think we'd be much more efficient, and the school would know what our priorities are, because I think they're just throwing stuff out there because they know that all the different needs they need to see what we have an appetite for and what we can afford. So, I'm
Well,
trying
in
to
that
move on.
case, the second is ill-advised, right? Because we won't have time to contemplate things amongst us until the 7th.
But the study that you were talking about, would that be ready by the 2nd?
I don't know. I don't
I think you bring up a really good point on
so.
that.
There's a meeting next week to kind of, I think it's like a status type meeting or something, but I don't know if they'll have it.
I got invited to a preview on the
That's next week. It's next week.
22nd.
That's what you were talking about?
I got invited to a preview because I asked on September 22nd.
Right.
So it should be done by October 2nd. Now, I'm looking at Amy because I'm like thinking, okay, so is Tischler Weiss going to have our part and their part coordinated like they promised?
Yeah, I'm hoping, that, because in the staff level meetings that we've had with Dr. Coleman and Tischler Weiss, Julie's been there, so I'm hoping that they're doing the work to make it complete.
What about in terms of deliverables, if we can't go with the second, it doesn't seem like that would work, that they provide us by the second what they're looking at presenting I know they will probably hesitate on that, but at least if we have the information to digest before the meeting, would that not be helpful?
That's what we're saying, we're not sure.
I know-
what
I
they'll
get
have
that,
as
but-
a deliverable by then. They should have it, but we're
It
just.
sounds
not sure.
like they would have a draft, anyway.
I kind of understand Chairman Rosie's point, because it would be helpful by the 7th if, in fact, on the 2nd, we were able to have a presentation, so that, at least on our side of our study, regardless of the school part, at least we would have that in our minds for, again, contemplation on the 7th. But
Be nice if we had both.
Which study? I'm confused
Our growth study from Tischler Weiss.
Okay,
They
because
had to
ours is just
revise-
projections about, let's assume 2%, let's assume 3%.
But then they had to go back and noodle it, right, because they actually used different numbers between ours and the school one, and they weren't ticked and tied. And they promised to deliver a final that matched.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to get a sense of how that helps you on the 2nd.
Well, do we want them to present again before we use it to help guide our long-term strategic plan? Or no, we don't really care, we've just spent $75,000 and we're just gonna like throw it away?
It's, I mean, I could certainly ask at our meeting on Monday if they would be.
If they'll have it by then.
They would have it by
I think it'd be helpful. It'd be more productive, I think.
So is the 7th for the school board off the table? Because you're gonna need to know, right?
Look,
I
I'm
was
up for
hoping
it.
I'd
Give
get a
me
response
dinner,
tonight,
give me
'cause-
dinner and some Red Bull, I'll do it, but, you know, you say you're done, I mean, I get it, you guys.
I mean, I
it's a
could be
long
wrong, it
day.
could be one of those wonderful days, but
I just think if we have the preliminary information, it'll help it. And I mean, I'm okay with having a longer day and knocking it out, but I'm used to meetings like that a little bit more so sometimes, but,
So a lot of it's gonna depend on, I mean, there's a lot of members of the school board too, so.
if we're starting from scratch, that's a whole different ballgame.
And I think we need to remember too that the school board members, a lot of those guys work too. They're already coming home exhausted. Now, we gonna keep them there from 5 to maybe 7 or even 9 o'clock? No way.
So maybe that's a compromise. We limit the time that we're there. Maybe we don't eat together. Maybe it's 5 to 6:30. Maybe for sure we say it's gonna end by 7, but, I mean, I know they've already floated that date and all their people can come on the 7th.
Yeah.
Well, let's limit the time. I'm telling you, like George
Yeah, and
said.
we've kind of tentatively said that, but yeah, we can maybe.
do a hard
Make
stop.
sure that that's
Yeah.
Because
clear.
you're not gonna be making any decisions, right? We're just talking.
Yep.
So let me make sure, because I'm going.
We've now flip-flopped several times, yeah.
Where are we right now?
Well, yeah.
That's what you need to know.
Well, bottom
Tell
line
us.
is, I need a couple of motions because you'll need to set those meetings, so that there's no issues with regard to,
Notice.
yeah, whether or not they're
I'd like to
official
move that we
meetings.
call a special meeting for the board retreat for October 7th, 9 to 4, to be held at the school board office.
Good, okay. Any further discussion, Madam Clerk?
Now, you said from 9 to 4.
Correct, for our meeting.
So just our meeting? Okay,
Strategic.
then we gotta make another motion for it.
Right.
Yes.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Akery?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. Stefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosie?
Yes, so moved, all right. Next motion.
Which would be for the school, joint meeting with the school board.
Yes.
So I'm guessing they can't meet us at 4.
I don't know, because we ask at 5, so if
Let's
you
have
want.
sandwiches from 4 to 5.
Finger food.
Yeah.
We'll save on
I'll
that
just eat a
for
big
budget.
lunch, we'll be fine.
If you want to set the start time at 4 and we can invite them.
Just roll right into it. Do a break, roll into it.
Yeah.
4:15.
Well, let's just do 4:30, let's compromise. And that way we have enough time to freshen ourselves, eat a little bit, get ramped up and.
For a 2-hour meeting, hard
Yeah.
stop at 6:30.
Yeah,
Sounds like a motion.
Well, our meeting don't have to last until 4. I mean, we can stop our meeting at 3:30, 3 o'clock.
Well, that's true.
We want to get them there around lunchtime, kids
Yeah,
quit.
Then we can start the other meeting right
I'm
away.
just messing.
If you all get the work done, you're not gonna be working right up till 4 o'clock.
Right.
So, but, again, you tell us.
What's your pleasure?
I'd say 4,
I'll go with 4 too.
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
I mean, nobody's gonna complain about getting home earlier, but, we'll.
Oh, I know
like said-
that. I'm gonna hear it anyway. I video this stuff. I gotta watch what I say. Guess my wife watches it.
And
All right, so,
nothing, no school board, anything, except we'd like to see if we can get the information by the 2nd. Correct?
We'll
Still
request
working
that.
on that.
So I'd like to move, we have a special joint session with the school board from 4 PM to 6 PM. Also at the school board offices
On October 7th.
on October 7th.
Okay, no further discussion? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Acree?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosie?
Yes, so move.
thank you.
Okay.
And please do your homework that Michelle sent you.
Yes, please do, because that'll facilitate all of that stuff on the 7th, happening soon.
That leads us to new business.
Yes, sir. Item A, we are still waiting on some information from VDOT, so I'm going to ask that we not take any action on that right now. Quite frankly, we don't have a resolution in there, and that's why we don't have the resolution completed.
You want to defer to our next meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to know when we contemplate that, how the money goes, right? How we're gonna represent that on the books and
Yes, so.
withdraw and how it counts against our leverage.
And that's part of the reason we need some more information from VDOT, because that'll determine specifically how we address that in our books.
Thank you.
Mr. Roberts, when we have that discussion too, I'd like to understand if it's going to be a one lump sum or iterative transfers and the interest rates of the unassigned fund balance compared to the capital balance at the end.
That's kind of specifically what we're looking for in terms of the feedback. Do we have to have the entire amount up front, or do we, let's say that first bill's $1 million, and then we're basically just rolling that because every time we spend money, we're getting reimbursed. But anyway,
Yeah, I want to make sure we're maximizing the time value of money.
yeah.
Do we need a motion on that?
No, it's just a matter of.
So,
not
just
doing
because it says Route 17, would it be appropriate, could I ask Jamie a question about the 17 and Nike Park intersection? It's kind of, it says Route 17, so it's not a budget thing. Do you mind me asking a couple questions?
It's fine.
Would you be prepared to ask to tell us where we are on the status of the Nike Park extension in 17, or just a rough idea? I know you weren't prepared to make remarks on that.
Sure,
Would you
it
mind?
is still on time, on budget, and we're expecting it to be finished by the end of the year.
Oh, very good.
So I can't get more specific than that because the contract date, I believe, is the end of December.
Right.
So I think the contractor's a little bit ahead. I've heard them throwing November around, but I don't have a specific schedule.
That's good to know. That's all I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay, next
And
time.
if we could just clarify, we're gonna pick this up at the work session, correct? And we'll be able to take action on a resolution at the work session if necessary?
Yeah, because we were hoping that that information would come in from VDOT.
Correct, and
in
I'm
advance
expecting
of
it
that,
this
so,
coming week.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right. New business?
That's 8:45.
Amendment 17B.
And, Mr. Chairman, I think you took action on at least a portion of this. There's an agreement that was included, and so I would simply ask that you all would adopt a motion to authorize execution of the agreement for purchase of the new vehicles.
So, last month, you adopted a resolution that authorized you to be reimbursed for leases that had been entered. And now we have the final lease purchase agreement that we'll be using to move forward with that project, though. So that was related, but that was, the first one was to to put them, for financing purposes, you have to have the resolution that says that you're going to use some of these funds to reimburse yourself. And so that was in place last month, and this is the lease agreement for this upcoming budget cycle.
Okay. So I move that we accept the resolution to execute a master lease purchase agreement for the purchase of new vehicles of $563,100, correct?
Correct.
What kind of cars are they?
So there are several sheriff's vehicles. There's a couple of trucks. There's one for, I think, Public Works. They're all small vehicles. No, like trash trucks or anything like that included.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Jefferson?
Yes.
Mr. Acree?
Yes.
Ms. Roundtree?
Yes.
Mr. DeStefano?
Yes.
Chairman Rosie?
Yes, so moved. And C.
Actually, you removed that from the
You
agenda
did.
earlier.
Gosh, what should we do now?
I don't know, it says 8:45, so you've got 15 minutes, but.
Move to adjournment.
Oh, Mr. Jefferson was